What's good, everyone? This is Defender here. We are out in the middle of nowhere. Just got out of a quick 10-minute guided meditation, then 10 or 15 minutes unguided. Last time I got out of the unguided in this same spot, there was a black timber rattlesnake. So I'm happy that didn't happen again. That's a sound you will never forget if you hear a rattlesnake in the wild. It's like a malfunctioning machine gun. But anyway, today I wanted to discuss a topic that's hit home to me a lot, so I'm sure a lot of other people are going through the same thing. And what I like to call it is the no man's land after a spiritual awakening. So basically, for me, I had a spiritual awakening and it was really, really abrupt, just out of nowhere. It wasn't this gradual thing like most people have it. Mine was just kind of 1,000 miles per hour at once, and then just after that, I kind of snapped back to a more egoic state a little bit, and then it just gradually got back to the expanded paradigm and consciousness that resulted from the spiritual awakening. And really, at the end result, I felt my inner essence for the first time. I felt how everybody's inner essence is, how everybody's purpose is more to awaken and discover that inner purpose, even if they don't know it yet. And I just felt our place in the universe, my place in the universe, and I just felt all of it in a deep hypnosis meditation in a flash. And that was a gift of grace. So what really gets interesting is after it, because you've had the spiritual awareness of a paperclip the first 30 years of your life. You go through a spiritual awakening. Everyone you look up to would think anyone you're talking about is complete nonsense. Any spiritual topic, if I were to say this tree has an inner essence, that would be complete nonsense. And I know better. I definitely know better. So when you first go through the spiritual awakening, you can either ignore it and cause more suffering for yourself, or you can align closer to what you have discovered through experience. And it's an interesting process, because if your inner purpose is on the spiritual level and your outer purpose is what you are doing in the world of form, for me, I realized what I was doing in the world of form was not aligned with my inner purpose, and it was creating suffering, because I was a professional poker player, for a long time, and I think I was ready to move on, but the egoic mind patterns were attaching to that identity, because that's what everyone knows you as, this and that. And once you cling to something that needs to be let go, you will create more suffering. So that is a really tough lesson to learn. And the more you get attached to the world of form and the more it becomes part of your identity, the more impossible it becomes to escape. So when you are in no man's land, is what I like to call it, is where I am right now. I'm not 100% driven by my inner essence and true core purposes, yet I'm definitely not completely identified with the normal egoic mind patterns that ran the majority of the last 7 years of my life, almost 95% of it. So it's an interesting place to be, because what drives the world no longer drives you, so you feel out of place. it doesn't really make sense. There's not many people you can talk to about it. And at the same time, you listen to someone like Eckhart Tolle and you're like, holy, oh, whoa, wow, I don't really fit in there either, you know? So it's just, where do I fit in, right? Where do you fit in? And it's a gradual process, but I do think once you have the act of grace that is the awakening, you can choose to ignore it and let the egoic mind patterns take back over and cause more and more suffering for yourself, more and more suffering. Or you can respect the process that has already been underway. Go out into the nature, go out into the forest, meditate daily, ground yourself to nature, be still, be present, be aware. So when you're struggling and you're all over the place, it's, hey, no man's land is a crazy place. But at the same time, no man's land is, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, you're out in no man's land. Anything goes. Think of it that way. There's endless possibilities. Anything goes in no man's land. You could get jumped by a black timber rattlesnake. You could meet some girl on the beach and just hang out right away and everything's wonderful. You could stop causing more suffering for yourself and stop causing more suffering for the world. You can align closer to your inner essence regardless of what anyone says or what anyone else thinks of you, because you're following your heart, and that's just the pillar of self-esteem right there. And so when you're in no man's land, it doesn't mean that you have to completely quit your job. For example, I still play poker. It's a good source of income, but whatever you're doing, whether you have a $1 billion company or complete millionaire, just have bazillion dollars, like my brother who started a company, or you're a professional poker player, really respected, or you're a top selling author, whatever you're doing, the more you let the egoic mind patterns attach itself to that identity, the harder it will be to let go of that identity when you need to let go of that identity, because you're gonna have to let go of outer purposes sometimes, because it's essential to creating space so new experiences can arise in your life that will align you closer to the ideal version of yourself as an entity experiencing life in this incarnation. So just something to think about, and keep in mind you're never alone. If you feel really alone, in no man's land, shit is crazy, but you know, you're never alone. It's, you know, just transition in your own way at your own pace. Meditate. For me, meditation is my spiritual practice, so I know if I'm not meditating at least 20 minutes when I wake up and going out in the forest, and midday I do 20 to 30 minute deep hypnosis, or I just feel much worse. So keep doing that and be present, be still, be aware. If you're ever struggling with a decision or anything, for me, I just be as still. I go in nature, or the beach or the forest, as still and present as I can be. And then what comes to me after the quick meditation. And if you're really running all over the place, and I have ADD too, I don't take meds anymore, but I've been diagnosed with it. So if you're ever running all over the place, you want to do 10 different things at once. You have all these projects, all these ideas, but at the end of the day, you need to sometimes get a clean meditation when you recognize that you're going through those patterns, and force yourself, what do I have to do at this moment? Look at nature. Look at this magnificent tree. standing over us. It wasn't stressing about 20 different things when it was a fucking seed. It was taking things one step at a time, and now it's a magnificent tree. And now not even a black timber rattlesnake can mess with it. So one step at a time, that's something I need to really work on. But if you keep one step at a time and you keep asking yourself, I don't want to cause more suffering for myself or the world. I want to create happiness for myself and the world. I want to be more in the present moment. And you're going to be okay. And then whatever comes out of no man's land is the excitement of life. Don't fear no man's land. Embrace it. This is where things go down. Anyway, it's been real, and I hope everyone has a wonderful Monday.